Hi. Happy Wednesday, January 29th. New moon, new year. And I came out here after classes, to the beach to do a beach walk. I didn't do one yesterday because I was letting the skin around my mosquito bites, or whatever kind of bites, I don't want to know what kind of bites they are, heal a little more and they feel back to normal, except for their color. So I'm I came out after classes to get a beach walk in and reflect on today's A Course in Miracles, or to practice, not reflect on, to practice today's lesson that I will tomorrow reflect upon. And so this is such a great place to practice today's lesson, and you're going to find out what that is in like 12 hours or whatever, 15 hours, when I reflect on it. And this is a perfect little part of the beach for looking at shells and walking on them to toughen up your feet. So, yeah, it was such a great day. They're so great. I don't know how else to put it. There were still some learning edges for me, so that was good. Some challenges. I love meeting a learning edge. Edges are not comfortable, they're not meant to be, but that's why they're called a learning edge. When we come up against an edge, like somewhere we've never been before, and sometimes an uncomfortable one, because the edges of things tend not to feel good on our bodies as much as the middle of surfaces, like the flat parts, versus the sharp edges. So yeah, learning edge can be uncomfortable, and I've definitely met my learning edges here, which, is awesome, because if I just sailed through this without meeting any edges, what would I be learning as part of this experience? I know I'm here in a teaching assistant role, so primarily being a teacher of things in the supporting role anyway. But I want to get better at that. So of course it's my first time. I expect to meet some edges and learn and grow from those, and I am. Because I'm taking time to reflect on every single one that I'm aware of, and I'm sure there are many I'm not even aware of. That's just the nature of learning, and it's only an edge when I've been aware of it, and I felt how uncomfortable it is, and I'm working through it, and integrating those lessons learned. If I do something wrong, quote unquote wrong, or if there's an opportunity for growth that I'm not perceiving, it's not quite an edge, is it? It's just not in my awareness yet. And maybe it's not meant to be. If it's meant to be, something will put it into my awareness. It might be a coworker, it might be the instructor, it might be a student. And I've definitely had things brought to my attention, and it's as uncomfortable as that can be to the ego. I just send so much gratitude to the people bringing those things into my awareness, whether directly or indirectly. Directly, like they're coming to me voicing something, or indirectly, it's just made aware to me by being said, even if it's not directed at me. Or by me witnessing something that I'm like, oh yeah, I could do better at that next time. So anyway, they can show up in all ways. And I just realized I'm walking by a restaurant where there's a line of people just kind of looking at me and talking to my phone. So what are you gonna do? It's Samra. Who cares? Not I. But I was made aware, and I'm gonna smile at them while I talk. Hey guys. So when I find a stretch of beach I like that's less people-y, I tend to like to go back and forth walking it as I talk. And it is the high season, so there are more people than I've ever seen before here, even though I've been here at this exact time twice, 2 other times. There are just more people this year. Still feels roomy though. Doesn't feel touristy. Not like other tourist towns. So hey, I'm grateful for that. So anyway, learning edges, there are aplenty when this is my first time being a TA in an intensive program where emotions, tensions, sensitivities, everything is amplified. Literally every little thing is amplified, even the good stuff. Not just things that are hard or challenging, but the good things are amplified too. I mean, come on, look at this. This is like off the charts. And I am not taking it for granted at all. Like, it's amplified. And so is the sun, so you gotta make sure you wear sunscreen. I just feel like this week, I'm only 2.5 weeks here. Really, it's like been just over. It's only been really 1 full week of real body work. So what's that, 5 days? And then 6 real class days, something like that. Or maybe 7 now. So it's like, it feels like so long. We've learned so much. We've done so much already. And they are more than halfway on to a full body massage. And that includes things that most massage therapists out in the real world do not do or are never taught. How does this program do it? And they produce some of the best therapists. Oh my God. Like, and this school is really like, they say, you know, and it truly is art plus massage. And I'm just slowly but surely stepping more into that art piece day by day with clients, gaining that confidence of like, once you've seen enough clients, you kind of understand a broader range of body types, body tissues. Like, there's so much variability between every person's different. Every body part is different. Even tissues within the same body are different. Like, you can only understand it by going through it, not from a textbook, not from within the school itself. So it's like, that's why they call it practice. Like, my practice I'm building is constant refinement, constant hopeful improvement. And the more I improve, the more confident I feel, and the more and more that art element comes in naturally. And I realized that today when I am introducing things to coworkers and students as different ways to think about things. Even just that, not even a different technique, just some about the subtler art of massage is a communication with somebody's nervous system and with their psychology. And it's the whole person. It's not just the tissues. First of all, there's a big learning that we're more than muscles. And that's day one of this program. We talk about fascia from day one, connective tissue, and how we're just one big interconnected human. Nothing is separate. Even in anatomy and physiology, they teach that. Like, yeah, you might think this is your problem. That's like just be a symptom of something else going on, like basic stuff. But they really drill it in from the get-go, and I really appreciate that, because when you get a client coming in the door, you treat them as a whole person. Oh, hello, leg, walking in the door. You look like you could use a massage. Oh, your low back hurts. Oh, hi, low back. We're just gonna focus on you today. Oh, there's a human attached to the back. Oh my God, hi, human. That's an exaggeration, but I talk to clients who've never had people listen. Just straight up listen. And they preach that here from day one. If there is a word called preach here, it's not. but you get the idea. So I'm just so grateful after just these 2 weeks of being here, of just being reminded just how special this school is and how special this place is for this school. And you can't have one without the other. They're both special because of each other. Even the town appreciates the school so much. Like, they get excited when they see a fresh group of students come through. And then also, if they're inclined to come into the clinic, they are so excited to get to receive massage from the students and keep returning and be like, oh my God, they're improving so much in just a month. And so I've already gotten stopped on the street asking, oh, you're with the school? When does the clinic open? You know, in broken English, I'm able to understand what they're saying and be like, you just wait a few weeks. Just wait a few weeks and they'll be ready. And they are so excited already. They're like, yay! And the school does so much community work and support that, yeah, you can't have one without the other here. And that, I'm gonna cry, it's just so special. So it just makes me so grateful. I don't know, how did I even stumble into this desire to go to massage school? They laugh at me because I'm like, the instructor, people, like coworkers ask me, and I'm like, I don't remember. I think it was, at some point there was a fork in the road, either massage school or culinary school, and then something slapped me upside the head and I was like, wait a minute. Like, culinary students and chefs are the most stressed out people you see on all those cooking shows, those competition shows and all of that. And then just knowing people who've worked in the restaurant industry and people who've owned restaurants, it's like, wait a minute, wake up, girl. You just came out of a stressful career. What are you even thinking? So that was like a 2-second thought. I had Googled some schools and then that thought sunk in and I was like, whoa, back it up. Massage school it is. And I still don't remember like why those were my options in my head when I had fully extracted myself from my old career. I already knew there was no going back for me. I was like, we're moving forward, but where? I have no idea. I really don't remember how this idea came to me. It must have been spirit. And so, man, I'm grateful for that. So, when you compare the two, culinary work and massage work, you are interacting with humans in their basic needs, touch, nutrition. You are introducing support in the hierarchy of needs. You are comforting. There are a lot of similarities, so it's no surprise that they're related in some way. It's just like, where did they come from into my head? I have no idea. So there is something though from my childhood. I'm going to do a different video on this because I have a whole list of things like synchronicities from childhood when you think about, what things did I love as a kid? What did I love to do? What could I just be fully absorbed in for hours and hours and hours and hours? And I think one of them is this idea of mixing things. So yeah, that directly applies to culinary school. Like, I've always had this weird fascination with like, ooh, let's take these two very different things and mix them up. And I feel like that's what I'm doing with my massage practice by following my passions for other modalities that I want to mix in with massage. And so I guess that's related. Like, that's the one that comes immediately to mind. So yeah, what do you still remember doing as a kid that you could just get lost in forever? And the way I remembered mine, because I don't have a lot of memories from childhood, it definitely goes back to childhood trauma. It definitely is all related. So but the memories I do have that are on the positive end of that scale, that spectrum, happen to be ones that still resonate with me today. So they stuck in my awareness for some reason. Like, why could I just be endlessly lost in like sneaking off with my mom's nail polish bottles and like mixing different things together and then mixing like sand and dirt into it? And I'm sure she did not appreciate that, but I don't remember those because she was such, I don't know, so patient, so loving, so kind. I don't have any negative memories about repercussions unless I block them out. Maybe there will be some like hypnosis memory recovery someday. But I can't even imagine that because my mom still to this day, like, I'm gonna cry. She just never, I never was grounded even until there was one time she said the words, because it was an extreme case, even for me. Like, well, for anybody. And I was a good kid overall. So I didn't warrant needing grounded like a lot of my peers. But there was definitely a moment where I got grounded. Like, she said the words, but there was no actual grounding. So, but I knew when I had displeased her. You know, we had such a deep and still do connection. Like, we feel each other's emotions and our intentions behind the emotion. I mean, and I think a lot of parents and children have that connection. It's probably very natural. It's not natural in all cases. There is no all or nothing. So I just feel like those positive memories that I remember from childhood usually indicate something that is still a joy or an underlying like fascination I have into adulthood. So what I'd like to do that I'm thinking of, and I left all my notes at home in my main journal, is like go through those again and remember all the journaling I did, where I went real deep into those remembrances and got connected between then and now, and then like do a reflection on it. Because whenever I reflect on something, even new stuff comes up. It's not just a recounting of past events. So there's a purpose behind it for me. And I didn't bring that notebook because I wanted to be more inclined to reach for the video, because that's the part of the journey I'm on now, is self-expression and being more comfortable with that and having people witness that, even if it's not real time. Because in real time, I've often worn masks. And if I can be more authentic as a baby step with the camera, I know it already is. It's already translating into real time. So that's my specific journey and the point of that journey that I'm currently on or in. So that's why I said, nope, I'm not bringing journals. I'm not bringing a lot of writing utensils, which has backfired because students have needed stuff that would have been great to offer in the moment as a temporary crutch. But I'm like, sorry, I don't have an extra pen. Oops, normally I would. So that's just knowing it's kind of like putting up bumpers, guardrails, boundaries, guides for myself, so I don't fall back on habit. So I'm learning to work with myself instead of against myself. So I guess this reflection's all over the map, all going back to what I keep calling the alignment journey, which is coming into alignment with my truest self, which is my authenticity, which I've never known before. And it's a slow unveiling and a slow revealing for me. Some people have known their whole lives, and I've always envied that. Always. And now I'm like, oh, especially when I can look back at videos, I'm like, oh, hi, real me. There you are. And then other people out in the world might say, no, that's how you look to me all the time. And I might be like, oh, well, maybe it was just me not knowing the real me, and that's what we're here to do, and that's why I feel this is my path and the point of the path where I currently am. I may not even seem different to you, and that's fine. I feel different, and I feel like wearing fewer masks. I love how I'm not worrying about others' perceptions of me as much along the way. I love that that guy wearing the Rastafarian hat is bent down, sitting on his heels, seemingly waiting for the tide to come in. Oh, no, he's not. He's watching a little young boy, maybe his son, who knows. And I just love how, I just love noticing things like that. Like everybody's doing their thing, not caring about what others perceive. Or they never cared, and I'm the one who is injecting that into my awareness of other people. Maybe they've never perceived me any differently, and maybe they've never perceived themselves any differently, and it was all in my head. Pretty sure it was. And it's that whole, I was talking about it in one of these recent videos, that whole comparison tendency. I still do it, especially in reflection when I'm like, oh, comparing how I used to feel about things with how I do now, although I think that is a useful tool when used in that way. I have most of my life not used the comparison tool as a useful tool. It's been a tool of divisiveness within myself and between me and other people. I feel like that is fading into my periphery. It's just not going to be a thing anymore. And I may not even notice when it finally leaves. It's probably going to be years from now when I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I used to do that all the time. You know, because it's like, it's hard to notice the absence of things versus the presence of things. The presence of things is easy to notice. It's like right there in your awareness, whether mostly visually, usually for a lot of us, or auditorily, or with feel, even the feel of energy is real. So however it gets into our awareness, the awareness is like the presence of that thing. And then to be aware of the lack of something, the absence of something is much harder, because it's like, there's something weird about that, isn't there? I'll have to reflect on that even more. Like, when something disappears from our awareness, it's easy to just not notice that it's gone. And I feel like that with relationships a lot of times. Like, maybe people I used to keep in touch with or be more intentional about keeping in touch with, little time goes by, I don't notice, a little more. Maybe I'll think, oh yeah, I haven't reached out to them for a while. Okay, a little more. And then eventually they're just like poof, out of my awareness completely. But then I'm like, oh crap, who have I done that with? I don't know, they're out of my awareness. Maybe I don't want them to be. And so, like, there's a point at which I'm grappling with, I guess, with relationships. Is that okay? Like, if I really, truly, if we still resonated together, we would reach out to each other. It's not just, the onus doesn't have to be just on me. And if they were really hurt by me not reaching out and didn't want to say anything, then maybe they need to do some healing around that feeling, you know? And it's, again, not taking ownership over somebody else's healing journey, but being there to support them. And I want people to know, if we are meant to be in each other's sphere for a reason, I'm here for that. Just remind me that, yeah, dude, you should reach out more. And I'll be like, oh my God, you're right, I should. And I want to. You know, I don't like the should word as much anymore, because that's like a comparison word. Like, should means, well, here's the norm and here's how I'm currently behaving. Oh, I should be more like the norm. So yeah, as comparison drifts away, so does that should word. So I notice when it comes up now. It tends to be in relationships because I'm still like finding a learning edge, tie it all together here, with relationships. And I think that's natural as I try to understand more about authenticity and what mine is. Like, what does that mean to me? Well, I gotta be authentic with myself first. And then how can I be more authentic with other people? And so I feel like sometimes as I go deep on this inward journey, sometimes I naturally stop reaching out to people because I'm just so like, oh, there's something here that needs my attention. And sometimes that's okay. And sometimes I have felt in the past, and probably still do in some cases, and I have a good example, I'm sure I could find one, of where I feel shame for what I'm healing. And I don't want anybody to see me until this thing is healed, to like gone through it and come out the other side. I don't want you to see the messiness. There's still a shame element to healing that I'm naming. I'm naming for the sake of bringing awareness to it, to normalizing it a little bit, even if just for myself. Like, that to me, normalizing things evaporates the shame. And we see that in our own culture all the time, like shame around body image. Name it. Say we've all dealt with some of that, especially in massage school. It's obviously present of mind. We have lectures and discussions about it, about sensitivities. Like, we've all dealt with something. So just be sensitive with your language. Be sensitive with the presence you come in with. When you partner with someone, don't make any assumptions. Basic stuff like that. But in our culture, luckily with the younger generations, I am so in love with the younger generations. They're older people, my age and older. My dogs, oh gosh, please stay in your lane. They didn't look friendly for a second, but they're just playing. And I'm a cat person, so I don't understand dog energy a lot of times. I'm like, ah. So, like the older generations, not all of them. When I speak, there's never an all or nothing. I also try to get rid of the never and always words, so I noticed it right away. Like, yeah, that came out right when, that's so ironic. So I'm in this, like, so reflexive so quickly. It's like, okay, get out of that loop. It's so funny. Anyway, like the older generations, some of us, created that word snowflake, right? We introduced that word like, oh, these younger generations, they're just a bunch of snowflakes. F yeah, they are all unique. Get over yourself. They should be like me, where I just took it, I grinned and bared, I worked through it, I powered through, I push, hide my trauma, hide my shame, don't talk about it, don't talk about anything, just be prideful. And it's like, yeah, I feel strongly about this, can you tell? I love the way the younger generations are just so fed up. Yeah, guess what? A lot of us are too. We just don't have the blunt to talk about it. To say, you know what? I'm 47. I'm Gen X or Zennial or whatever you want to call me. I'm fed up with it too. I've lived in a freaking patriarchy, and I put myself in deeper in the patriarchy by being in the business world, being a consultant, like doing all these things to keep throwing myself against the patriarchy time and again, and feeling the pain of just like, you're less than, you're female. Like side by side with my male coworker who I'm more qualified than, oftentimes in my history, my particular history. I'm not saying every male, obviously. Like, I just was good at my job. And so when I'm side by side with them, and oftentimes they were just one of my team members, not like in a position of authority. They were just whatever they were doing. Some of them were developers. I always held them on a pedestal though, because like they make sure work better than I could. So it's not like I feel better or higher or of a higher status than them, but there's a clear hierarchy. You come to me with these things because I'm the project lead. I have the authority to do things for you. That person doesn't. They're going to have to come to me anyway. So it's like time and again. Obviously, this is something I've been healing from, but I put myself in those situations and I didn't have to choose a career in that. No, the patriarchy would have been alive and well with or without me. It was me throwing myself against the brick wall of patriarchy and those old mindsets of like, this is how it has to be done. Man. We make the world go round. I love you, men. I hope you know that. I love all people. But in my situation, I was dealing with a lot of a certain type of male energy. So that's what I'm trying to express right now. That male energy is something I must have felt the need to, like, I gotta just bash myself against it and feel the pain. Like, why? I could have gone to cosmetology school and worked in a field that it has traditionally been majority female, people born in female bodies. Like, industries have statistics. The business world and the technology world combined, you can guess what that one was. It's changing, thankfully. Why did I feel the need to do that? There was something probably karmically and who knows generationally I've been trying to heal. And I'm like, I'm just going to eject myself out of that situation. It's no longer useful for me, but I have a lot to reflect on in my new line of work, in my new life purpose. I guess it's not a new purpose, it's just new to me. It's probably been my purpose all along, I just never saw it. So, how did I get on this topic? Squirrel. It's just all part of my healing journey. There's some things that still carry an emotional charge. Those things I look at. The realization now of like why my path was what it was and how, like, I can look back now and be like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. I did that for a reason because look where I am today. I learned this big lesson. I learned it, but I had to go through that. So, but I'm still trying to understand, like, ooh, my higher self, like, what is my soul mission? And like, why did I feel like I needed to learn that lesson? Why? I'm excited. That's why this healing journey now, it's taken a turn. Speaking of turn, look at this river that forms in between the ocean and the shore. I love it. People actually call it the river. It comes up after high tide, goes back to low tide. You can see the river still here. It's the river. I do. I get sidetracked a lot, don't I? I'm getting better about finding my way back, but this one, I just kind of knew it was going to be all over the map. I wanted a long beach walk today. I literally have walked almost end to end. Yeah, I just, more and more as I step fully into my own authenticity, let's bring it back. There's this weirdly deep okayness, this weirdly deep true inner knowing that by doing this and feeling that lack of emotional charge about sharing this stuff and like feeling still so passionate about it, even though it lacks the emotional charge of like needing to heal from like the bad kind of charge that's like, oh, that hurt. I gotta reflect on that some more. I need to go hide a little bit. I know that feeling all too well. It's not that anymore with a lot of these things. The charge is more like I'm passionate about like expressing that all of this is okay to allow ourselves to feel. And I'm still working through that because there are still moments of like, shame. Oh, what a deep, gross, icky feeling. The shame. And just by starting to name it, I'm like, I still have a lot of shame. Shame and fear. I feel like fear is underneath it all, though. There's some fear that produces the shame, but they're real close together. They're like two sides of a piece of paper. That's how close they are. Like thin piece of rice paper. Like sometimes you might feel the shame first and then feel the fear rise up. Like, oh God, I don't want anybody to see that. And sometimes you might feel the fear and feel shame about what that fear is telling you. And I feel like all of it is okay. I have to tell that to myself. All of it is okay. We're all, you know what? If we have one thing in common, it's that fear and shame. If there's anybody without it, is there anybody without it? It just means they've pushed it so far down, it hasn't been revealed yet. And that's going to be a gigantic volcanic eruption. So, instead of doing it that way, pressure cookers? I don't know if that's a thing. Okay, Instapot, whatever the new thing is. I've never used an Instapot. I don't even know if I've eaten out of one knowingly. So anyway, we need a little pressure valve. And I feel like the way Spirit has been working through me, if that's what you want to call this connection with something outside myself that's guiding me, it could just be the connection with my intuition. It, whatever you want to call that, as I have a better and better relationship with my intuition. Let's just call it that for now, instead of spirit, whatever you're comfortable with. That's a cool shell. That's why I'm going to pause here for a second. Whatever that is, mine has given me some amount of a pressure valve and this innate, maybe the intuition piece of knowing, well, I don't know. I haven't always had the valve, so I'm not going to say it's always been there. Now I understand. I can feel into when I need to let a little bit out before I blow. Now I don't feel that anymore, so it might be easy to say, oh yeah, I've always had a pressure valve. No, I haven't. Remember that time I ejected myself out of the United States with a few hour notice, left everything behind? Oh, I guess that could be a separate video. That was an explosion. That was extreme burnout on so many levels, in so many areas of my life. We'll just do a separate video on that. I'm not going to open that can of worms. It would take hours. So, not that you even want to, it's more for me. It's like my journaling. If you want, I will let you know when it comes out, because grab some popcorn and maybe some tissues, whatever. But now I understand the value of a pressure valve, and knowing what everybody's valves are different. What helps you let off that steam, not in the traditional sense, oh, you just need to go blow off some steam. That's such a vague way to describe this. What it is what helps you stay grounded and connected. And that word grounded and connected is overused too. So it's I gotta find new words. And that's why I say a lot of words to say something that is so simple. Could be simple, I'm sure. But it's I'm trying to find new ways to express things, because words get watered down and you just sort of like they breeze through your head like, oh, I've heard that one a million, I've heard that. But like if you can say something in a new way, that's why I love poetry. They use regular words to say like the combination, ooh, the mixing of things. Let's come even more full circle, guys. Woo! I hope you're okay if I call you guys. It's gender neutral to me. But if you're offended, let me know in the comments. No one's watching yet. But one day I might get comments. And if I do, let me know if it's okay or if you have a different preference. When you're spoken to as a group, when you're part of a group of unidentified eyeballs, you can tell that's part of my journey too, in not making assumptions and wanting to honor how people are showing up and how they identify. That is such a deep, heck yeah, I'm here for that. You be a snowflake. We're all snowflakes. Don't you want to feel like a snowflake? We're all unique. Massage school teaches us that. No two bodies are alike, inside or outside, on the surface of the skin and underneath the skin. Literally no two bodies are like, not even twins. Twins don't even have the same fingerprints. Boom. Oh man, I'm just having fun now, but I don't even care how we got here. I'm at the quiet end of the beach. Quieter. And I'm gonna hover over the shell until I put down this phone and pick it up and go rinse it and see if I want to take it home with me for a little while and think about it. In relation to this A Course in Miracles lesson that I'm practicing today. Cliffhanger. So, I guess that's all that wants to be said right now. It's a lot of, I'm sorry, I don't mean to do a Midwestern goodbye. I said that's all that wants to be said, and I'm going to say some more. I'm sorry. Healing doesn't have to be scary. That's all I'm here to say. If put it on my tombstone, I'm not going to have a tombstone, don't worry. Are you worried? I'll probably be like, sprinkle me out there. Just sprinkle me out there. I honestly don't care what you do with the ashes of this body. I really don't. I hope everyone knows that. If you put me in a box, they'll be so mad. I will haunt. I can't haunt. I know I won't be able to. I'll probably just laugh. I'll be like, oh, you got me. Oh, I was looking up. And should be looking down, right? Heaven, hell. Those aren't things. I do not believe in heaven and hell as places of good and evil. We make our own hell. Ooh, that could be another video. Cliffhanger. Okay, I gotta go. That was a total Midwestern goodbye. You want to talk about the weather now? That's also another thing we do in the Midwest. I love being in the Midwest now. I never thought I would. That could be a separate video. I have so much to reflect on, guys. A whole lifetime of stuff. I'll leave it with that. Every time I come to a new perspective in general, a new level of seeing things, a new dimension of seeing things, in any direction, I tend to like see how, let's pretend they're a pair of glasses like this. As soon as I put them on, I'm like, oh, and I look around. I might look forward in time, I might look backward in time, and the more I look backward in time in my life experience, I'm like, oh, things look a little different now. Or it's infused with a different light, and now I can understand things maybe a little more clearly. And so I tend to reflect a lot, especially the further I go on this healing stuff. And healing, I just mean like, it really is just an inward journey. Healing is so generic. It's like, let's keep ripping off all the band-aids of self-protection, because some things are healed under there and I just don't know they are. Or some things I might need like some ointment. Like, we got to do more than a band-aid, you know? So I feel like, you know, continual looking in is what I mean by healing and alignment. just keep knowing thyself, know thyself. And I think truly that's what it all boils down to, why we're here. And if I know myself, I'll let you know that person too.